Hello! Hello and welcome to the Gathering Quiz Night. We were hoping we'd be in person by now, but sadly we're not. However, here we are for an evening of quizzy fun. It's the 16th of July. According to the thermostat on the wall, it's 30 degrees in here. I'm in the church building. It's a lot of glass. It's very hot. It's like being in a greenhouse, so say hello and help cool me down. Who's here? Tell me if you're here. Please let someone be here. Ooh. As usual, you need to make sure you've got someone who's ready to fill out the answer form. You need to make sure you come up with a good team name. And very importantly as well, you're not going to cheat. Oh, dear me. It's very hot in here. Hello, North Bradley. How are you all? Anyone else here? I've got this. This is fun. I might play this every so often. Hello from Trowbridge. Hello, St. James Church, Trowbridge. How are things in Trowbridge? Is it 30 degrees in Trowbridge as well? Hey, Headley Park Church are here as well. Hello, Headley Park Church. Oh, dear me. Hello from Grace Church. Matt is coming. Ugh. Matt's late, is he? Too hot. It is too hot. It's going to get even hotter this weekend. Fantastic. Yeah, la la, British people, moaning about the weather. Yeah, I'll stop. Good team names, please. There's been some pretty poor team names recently. I need some good ones. Good team names, someone on the answer form, no cheating. Say hi and get a shout out. And have a Bible handy. Trowbridge is cool, very funny. Hello from Wemden St. George's Church. Hello, people of Wemden. People of? Some people from Wemden. Are you well? Is it hot there as well? Oh, dear me. And let me know if you're meeting in person as well. It'd be nice to know that. We can't all meet in person, but you guys can meet together. So let me know if you're in person or not. And I'll give you a shout out as well. Please, can you send us the... Oh, whoops. As usual, I've neglected to send my own youth group all the information that they need. Give me 1 second as I do that. If you're just joining us, I've not forgotten to send things to people who need them. Send anyway. There we go. Right. TJ, hopefully you've got that now. Let me know. Oh, right. Hello from Grace Church. They're well in Wemden, but it is hot. Yes, we got some people meeting in person. Excellent. I know my youth group, they're in a garden about 200 metres that way. Oh. You should be glad, guys, you're not in here. It's very hot. Have I said that yet? Right. We're going to start in a couple of minutes. I'm going to give it another minute, I think, just to wait and make sure everyone's here. I think the Kensington lot are intending on joining us, but as usual, they're a bit late. Right, reminder, answer form, make sure you've got it. A good team name. If you meet in person, let me know. You can have a shout out. Don't cheat. Although some of these, I don't think you'll be able to cheat, which is rather wonderful. Whew. We'll give it one more minute, and then we're going to have to get started. One more minute. All right, I think we're going to have to get started. And people who are late are just going to have to deal with it. Oh, they're spicy Pringles. Lovely. Right, we're going to get cracking then. So make sure you've got your answer form. You'll have needed a team name by now. If you click next on your form, you'll be able to get to round one. And round one is the School's Out round. Or it will be soon. School's out, or it will be soon. Various summer holiday and School's Out themed questions. So here you go. Question number 1. Who wrote the famous School's Out for Summer song? Who wrote the famous School's Out for Summer song? I'm going to give you 15 more seconds. Leaders, if your young people don't know this song, I expect you to be singing it to them. That is necessary. Alrighty then, question number 2. This is a bit of a funny one. Which English word is derived from the Proto-Germanic word sumoraz? Which English word is derived from the Proto-Germanic word sumoraz? Ten more seconds. All right. This is another hard one. How many beaches are there in the UK? How many beaches are there in the UK? 10 more seconds. Alrighty, question number 4. What counties are the top 4 UK holiday destinations? Lots of us will be holidaying from home this year. I already have. What counties? And you're going to get 1 mark for each county you get correct. But if you put more than 4 answers, I won't give you any marks. So you can only put 4, but it's 1 point per correct answer. I'll give you a bit longer for this one. Thirty more seconds for this question. All right, that's enough time for that one. Now, this next question will strike fear in the heart of every person who drives a car because parking is often an issue on your summer holidays. What number parking space is covered up by the car in this sequence? What number parking space is covered up? Complaints about the difficulties of the questions can be received after the quiz is finished. Thank you. 10 more seconds. All right, gets a little bit easier now. Question 6. What vitamin can you get from direct sunlight? Ten more seconds. Alrighty, question number 7. Where is the longest pier in Britain? Where is the longest pier in Britain? 10 more seconds. Righty-ho, question number 8. What is the name of the rope used to secure tents and stop them blowing away? What do we call that rope used to secure tents to stop them blowing away? Ten more seconds. All right, question number 9. I will be very impressed if any of you know this one. When was the first inflatable beach ball invented? I think with this one, and with a number of beaches in the UK, I'll give the team who are closest to the answer the point, unless someone gets it exactly, all right? Because I doubt anyone knows this off the top of that. Just get on with the question. Ten more seconds. Okay, and the last question for this round. What is Aaron's, and that's me by the way, in case you don't know, what is Aaron's favourite ice cream flavour? I don't think any of you actually know this. So we'll see. Ten more seconds. Oh, wunderbar. That is the end of round 1. Some tricky questions in there. We'll see how you get on a bit later. We'll be doing answers at the end. But for now, we're going to move on to round 2. For those of you who live in holes in the ground, you might not have been aware, but there was a big football tournament on recently. And so round 2, which, don't worry non-football fans, is only 6 questions long, is all about Euro 2020, which took place in 2021. So, here we go. Round 2, the Euro 2020 round. Question number 1. How was the ball carried onto the pitch? at Euro 2020? How was the ball carried onto the pitch? Ten more seconds. All right, question number 2. What team has appeared at the most European Championships without winning the trophy? What team has appeared at the most European Championships without winning the trophy? Ten more seconds. Brilliante. Right, question number 3. Stood pitch side at the final match, who is England's 1966 hat-trick hero? And 10 more seconds. Alrighty, there's 2 points available on this next question. Question number 4. Which stadium hosted the final of Euro 2020? And what percentage capacity was allowed to be filled to? And you get 1 point per answer, so there's 2 points up for offer. Which stadium and what percentage capacity? You got 10 more seconds. Right, question number 5. Which team did England beat to get into the final? Which team did England beat to get into the final? 10 more seconds. All right, and question number 6. Which of these teams, these are their logos or crests, which of these teams was not in Euros 2020? And give me the letter that's underneath the logo of the one that was not in Euro 2020. Alrighty, 10 more seconds. There we are, pain over non-football fans. That round is now over. Now, normally at this point we would have the interview intermission. Unfortunately, we don't have an interview for tonight, which is a shame. It's one of my favourite things about these events. We've been hearing from different young people in different churches. But never mind. So I thought instead, given that at least some of you, where did I write my notes? There they are. At least some of you are meeting in person, I would give you a chance to interview each other. I'm going to give you 5 minutes, and here's what I want you to chat about. This question: what do you want to achieve this summer? What do you want to achieve? Do you want to read a book a week? Do you want to do something stupid like cycle 50 kilometers a day? What do you want to achieve this summer? Go around, all of you are there, however many you've got 5 minutes, and then we'll carry on with the quiz. So, 5 minutes starting now. You've got 1 more minute. 1 minute. Alrighty, well, if you want to put in the chat, if anyone said anything is especially interesting, you want to put in the chat some of the things that people wanted to achieve this summer, that would be great, and I'll read some of them out in between questions. But for now, we're going to carry on with the quiz. We're going to move on to round 3, which I'm hoping... Oh dear, what have I done? I clicked a button. Are we still alive? I think we are still alive. That's good. Right. I'm moving on to round 3, which is the Minecraft round. Yes, it's time. We've had a couple of Minecraft-themed questions, but now is the time for those of you who've spent lots of time in that blocky world to show us your knowledge. So here we go. Minecraft round. Question 1. What is the maximum number of chickens you can get from 1 egg in Minecraft? The maximum number of chickens possible to get from 1 egg. Ten more seconds. So I'll put this down. I'm getting distracted by it. Question number 2. Oh, it's a true or false question. True or false? It is impossible to see water if you are looking through ice. It's impossible to see water if you're looking through ice. True or false? Ten more seconds. Right, question number 3. How many diamonds do you need to make a full set of diamond armor? How many diamonds do you need to make a full set of diamond armor? 10 more seconds. Right, question 4. The noise a ghast makes is actually what? Is it a baby, a cat, a chicken, or someone choking? The noise a ghast makes, if you don't know, you're not going to know, the noise is actually what? A baby, a cat, a chicken, or someone choking? Ten more seconds. Right, question number 5. This wonderful looking thing is a snow golem. They will attack you if you are holding a bucket of lava. True or false? Ten more seconds. Okay, question 6. What needs to be in each of these crafting slots to make a bow? So imagine that grid on the screen is a crafting table. What needs to be in each of the slots to make a bow? If it needs nothing in it, write nothing, okay? And I know there's 2 orientations for how this can be made. I will accept both. But if in your answer you can write A, and then whatever would be in A, B, and whatever would be in B, so on and so forth. Does that make sense? Tell me if it doesn't in the chat. Otherwise, crack on. I'm going to give you 30 more seconds for this one because I know it might be a bit difficult to get the answer written down. Right, that's enough time for that one. Question 7. What creature was the creeper supposed to be before a coding error switched its length and height? What creature was the creeper supposed to be before a coding error switched its length and height? Ten more seconds. Alrighty, question number 8. Minecraft has been made part of compulsory education in Sweden. True or false? Minecraft has been made part of compulsory education in Sweden. True or false? A 10 more seconds. Alright, question number 9. Another crafting recipe. This time, what is the crafting recipe of a cake? Oh, that should say cake, not bow. Oh, I've made an error. Question 9 is how you make a cake, not a bow. Oh. Please make sure you notice that. Sorry. I'll give you 30 more seconds because, again, this is a bit of a hard one to describe. Alright, that's long enough for that one. Last question of the Minecraft round. How many real-time minutes makes up one day in Minecraft? Is it 10, 15, 20, or 30? How many real-time minutes makes up one day in Minecraft? 10, 15, 20, or 30? 10 more seconds. Dear me, it is cooling down in here, but it is still rather sweaty. Right, that's the end of the Minecraft round. Farewell to the Minecraft round. No one said anything in the chat about any of your ambitions that you discussed for the summer. I want to see some. Put your ambitions for the summer in the chat. I want to know what you're going to be up to, guys. And while you do that, I'll introduce round 4. And round 4 is the links round. But there's a bit of a twist on the links round because it's also an A to Z round, right? So let me explain. The first 4 questions will be normal questions. The 5th question will be what links the previous 4 answers. Now, to help you along the way, the 4 initial questions will all begin with different consecutive letters of the alphabet. So if question 1 began with A, question B will begin with B. Sorry, question 2 will begin with B, question 3 will begin with C, and so forth. If one begins with Z, then the next one will begin with A. Now, question 5 is not included in the A to Z, okay? That is a separate answer. So the first 4 are A to Z, and then the 5th one is what links the previous 4 questions. Ambition. Practice flute, read something. Ambition is not to isolate. Ooh, yeah, me too. Right, here we go. Question 1. I hope these rules make sense. What has a bead, a shoulder, and a shank? What has a bead, a shoulder, and a shank? This one's hard. Ten more seconds. It's question 2. Question 2 is, what breakfast dish would you find a hollandaise sauce on? What breakfast dish would you find a hollandaise sauce on? Ten more seconds. Whew, right, question 3. What is the surname of the super genius main character of Ewan Colfer's or Owen Colfer's? I can never remember how to say it. He writes on the inside cover. Anyway, the surname of the super genius main character of Ewan Owen Colfer's famous young adult fantasy novels. If you know, you know. If you don't, there was a film recently. 10 seconds left on this one, and it's just Owen, apparently, is how you say it. Right, question number 4. What is the name of the body part in many reptiles and insects where food is ground down with the aid of ingested stones and grit? Oh, what is the name of the body part in many reptiles and insects where food is ground down with the aid of ingested stones and grit? Ten more seconds. All right, and question 5. What links the previous 4 answers? I'm going to give you a full minute for this one. I'll give you a bonus 10 seconds because it was quite tricky. All right, that's the end of round 4, which means we're coming on to our final round. Oh, dear me. I must say I'm quite grateful for that because it's very hot. But there we are. Right, round 5 is a nice cup of tea. In this round, you will be asked tea-related questions, and hopefully you will see why that is relevant when we come to the talk, which will be up after this. So, a nice cup of tea. Question number 1. How many grams of tea are there in a Yorkshire tea bag? How many grams of tea are there in a Yorkshire tea bag? And I won't be accepting the closest answer on this one. The correct answer or nothing will count because I'm mean. I'll give you 10 more seconds. All right, this next one is worth multiple points, so I'll give you longer for it. Name the top 5 brands of tea, that should be plural, brands of tea in the UK, and you get 1 point per answer, okay? You can only put 5 answers. If you put more than 5 answers, I won't give you any points. But for every correct answer, you get a lovely point. I'll give you a bit longer for this one. I'm going to give you 30 more seconds. 30 more seconds. Okay, question 3. Oh, I need to get rid of that. Hang on. Which has a higher percentage of caffeine content per weight? Tea leaves or coffee beans? Which has a higher percentage of caffeine content per weight? Tea leaves or coffee beans? Ten more seconds. All right, question number 4, an etiquette question for you. When putting a cup of tea back onto its saucer, looking down on it from above, at what time on a 12-hour clock face should the handle be placed? So as you look down, if it was a 12-hour clock face, where on that 12-hour clock face should the handle of your teacup rest? I'm sure you all know this. They teach this in school, right? Right? 10 more seconds. And now it's time for the final question of this quiz. How many litres was the largest cup of tea ever made? And I should qualify, the largest cup of hot tea ever made. Apparently it's 2 different records. So how many litres was the largest cup of hot tea ever made? Ten more seconds. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of round 5, which means is the end of the quiz. So now is the time to click submit on your answer form. The quicker you do that, the quicker I can get the talk going, because I will be marking it while the talk is going on. Thank you, Headley Park Church, for already having submitted your answers. Well done. So please submit your answers now. I'm watching them come in. There's some very, what should we say, time-centric. What's happened? TJ's phone. Oh dear me. Right. Apparently my youth group's, their answer form has crashed. So I will give you a bit longer, but as long as I've got everyone else submitting their answers, please say in the chat once you've submitted your answers, engage smug mode. Love it. Who has submitted their answers? Who hasn't? Let's have a look. Right, I think I've got enough responses for now. So that means normally when I speed I get points. Can we have points for our speed? I'm not going to... All right, it's time for the talk, which this time comes from Muggins here. Fair warning, I had a migraine on Wednesday, so I was a little bit rushed. So the ending's not quite what I wanted it to be, but I hope, and because straight afterwards you'll have some discussion questions will come up on the screen with a timer. Hopefully you'll have some good discussions out of this. So without further ado, it's talk time, and I'll hand you over to me. It's important to do things in the right order. I mean, there are some things that you don't necessarily have to do in a particular order, and although my Cornish heritage would say jam first then cream on a cream tea, if you do it the other way round, you won't literally die. For those of you who are older, mirror, signal, manoeuvre is a very important order to do things. But here's an example that's quintessentially British. Making a cup of tea. You fill the kettle, set the kettle boiling, put a bag in a mug, pour boiling water on top, wait, agitate, strain and remove. Add milk. If you're evil, you then add sugar. Cup of tea. Fantastic. But it's no good if you fill the kettle, put a bag in a mug, pour water on top, set the kettle boiling, wait, agitate, strain and remove, add milk. It's awful. Today we're looking at Romans chapter 12 verses 1 and 2 again. And we need to start by recognizing that it's important to do things in the right order. We're going to be thinking about how we should live as Christians as we come out of lockdown. But if you aren't a Christian yet, then trying to live as one first is not a good idea. See, the gospel is about what God has done for us. Not what we do, but what God has done. We don't contribute anything to our salvation. We must depend utterly and completely upon the Lord Jesus Christ. He has done it all, so that simply by putting our faith in Him, we can be forgiven of all of our sins. The weight of guilt is lifted. The captivity to the path of sin is broken. But don't try and live as a Christian until you are a Christian, because it's impossible to sustain. And like making a cup of tea out of order, the result isn't only bad, it's actually worth absolutely nothing, and only worth pouring down the drain. Now we've got all that cleared up, let's look at Romans chapter 12. Therefore, I urge you, brothers and sisters, in view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. This is your true and proper worship. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, His good, pleasing, and perfect will. It's that bit in the middle that we're going to think about tonight. To not conform, but to be transformed. The Christian faith is a matter of the whole person. Not just our emotions, not just what we think, not just what we do. It's holistic. It's about all of us. People who have been saved by the love of God shown on the cross respond by seeking to love God with all their heart, all their soul, all their mind, and all their strength. It's the whole person. However, here Paul focuses on the renewing of the mind, an idea we find in his teaching elsewhere. Ephesians chapter 4, verse 22 to 24. You were taught, with regard to your former way of life, to put off your old self, which is being corrupted by its deceitful desires, to be made new in the attitude of your mind, and to put on the new self. And Colossians chapter 3, verses 9 and 10. You have taken off your old self with its practices, and have put on the new self, which is being renewed in knowledge in the image of its creator. What we think and how we think matters. It's vitally important to how we seek to live a Christian life once we become a Christian. What's going on in the mind of the Christian absolutely has an impact on their Christian walk. Paul calls for a renewing in knowledge, a transformation that comes about as a result of what and how we think. The problem is, for many of us, our minds are overstuffed. The price of a Freddo is too high. It is frankly immoral to be charging more than 20p. Paper straws are really annoying. They could everyone else I would like to read I reckon it's more than about example, but almost definitely. But the solution to our overstuffed minds is absolutely not to live a monastic existence, cutting ourselves off from everything and living like monks who only ever sit in a room and read the Bible and pray. Because the world is full of good things that God has given to us. In fact, we're encouraged, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. And these things aren't only found in the Bible, and they're not only found in things that are made by Christians either. We are not called to cut ourselves off from the world, but we are called to think about and reflect upon the good and virtuous things we see in the world around us. At the same time, however, we often consume so much content so quickly that we never take the time to stop and reflect. We just overwhelm ourselves, which has the effect of, well, we never grow as Christians, we don't worship as we should, and we build an unhealthy habit of always consuming and never digesting. Lockdowns forced many, if not all of us, to consuming more and more content as a way of coping with the stress. And what I'm about to say might make some of you feel guilty. In fact, I felt guilty as I've prepared this myself, which is why I want to give a timely reminder about my cups of tea. We need to get the order right. We're forgiven first, and then we try to obey. Our actions never earned our salvation. So yes, we might have got some of these things wrong, and we're going to think about that now, but let's keep things in the right order. We were forgiven not on the basis of anything we had done, but on the basis of what Jesus has done for us. Discernment and moderation. These are the two things we need to think about if we want to be those who have minds that are being renewed. So let's take the first, discernment. There are some things which are 100% bad for us to consume. Things that are so devoid of anything good or anything beneficial, whether it be a film or a game or a TV show, that we really ought not to spend any time with them at all. Any good that we might be able to get out of them and reflect upon is not worth the effort. And it's normally pretty obvious what these things are. And we need to admit that. But there are other things which are a bit more borderline. And this is when discernment is most difficult. Say you're watching a TV show or film, for example, and maybe the main storyline is very compelling. You want to know how it finishes. But as it goes on, it becomes less and less noble, less right, less pure, less lovely, and less admirable. Now, what if you're watching that content with a non-Christian friend? That's a predicament and a half. What do? We want to be transformed by the renewing of our minds, but that means more of a movement away from sinful, impure things than towards them. Just because you turn 12 doesn't mean that every film that is rated 12 is good for you. Same with 15, and definitely 18. Just because you stay up later, it doesn't mean what's on TV at those times is good for you either. We need to be discerning. But again, we're not called to be monks who cut ourselves off from the world. Just because something isn't in the Bible or wasn't made by a Christian doesn't mean that it won't be helpful for you as a Christian seeking to have your mind renewed. After all, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. This is a great book I've been reading this week. And in it, the author shows us how not just the Bible, but also church, nature, books, beauty, and even the internet can be sources of wisdom, means by which our minds can be transformed and renewed. But he reminds us about the need for moderation. So, what about moderation? If discernment is about the quality of what we consume, then moderation is about the quantity. Imagine eating a whole bag of sweets. Not a little packet of Haribo, more like a whole packet of squashies or something like that. And then you are presented with a lovely roast dinner. Your appetite is ruined. This very good, wonderfully nutritious meal has been ruined by a few mouthfuls of rubberized sugar. We should ask ourselves, is it really surprising that we find reading the Bible and prayer so difficult and unappealing if we spend the whole day being entertained by video after video, some of which might be very funny, but we go from one of them to the next so quickly that we never stop and reflect. Consuming so much, so fast, is of course going to reduce our attention spans, and it will reduce our appetite for those things that are truly, spiritually nutritious. In this book, the author takes the concept of the food pyramid, which shows us the sort of mix and quantities of the various different food groups that we should be eating. And the author takes the food pyramid and makes the wisdom pyramid. He reminds us of those things which will most help us to grow in wisdom, or to use the language of our passage today, those things that will most aid us as we seek to be transformed by the renewing of our minds. It's an important reminder for us that if we have fallen into the habit of mass consumption of YouTube and TikTok videos, that we're feasting on things that can be good in moderation, but en masse are immensely destructive. It's not that we need to stop watching these things entirely, but perhaps we need to find a better way of watching them and give ourselves space and time to consider whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy. More than this, by not just feasting on sweets, as it were, all the time, our appetite for things that are genuinely spiritually nutritious will grow. The summer holidays are here, or they're just around the corner, depending on which school you go to. The last 18 months have no doubt had an impact on the things that we consume. So how can we come out of lockdown well? How can we use this summer well? If we're Christians, we want to be transformed by the renewing of our minds. And when we are, we become more worshipful, being able to worship God in every situation. Think of Paul and Silas in their prison cell singing hymns to God. What they knew about Jesus transformed their situation into an opportunity for praise. If we're Christians, we want to be transformed by the renewing of our minds. And when we are, we see how much this world is in need. And so while telling other people about Jesus is still a difficult thing to do, when our minds are renewed and we are transformed, our desire to share the gospel increases too. If we're Christians, we want to be transformed by the renewing of our minds. And when we are, submitting to God's commands becomes a delight, because we know how much God loves us. And so submitting to one who loves us so much becomes much easier. The Christian faith is about the whole person. But today we've been thinking about the mind. And I hope we'll all take this chance, whether you're in the youth group or whether you're one of the youth leaders yourselves, to take this chance to think about how disciplined we need to be discerning, to be moderating how much of this stuff that we're consuming. Let's find ways to support and help one another. But remember my cup of tea. These things won't save us. We depend upon God entirely for our salvation, and in a similar way we need to depend upon God to help us by the Holy Spirit to be disciplined and to be renewed in our minds. Because when we get it out of order, it's no good. Is it All right, that is all our time, and we are running over. So I'm going to have to speed through the answers, most of them. School's Out for Summer, Alice Cooper. The word is summer. There's 779 beaches in the UK. Double Base Church put 800. That was the closest, so they got the point. Dorset, Devon, Cornwall, and North Yorkshire. 87, it's upside down. I think you all got that. Vitamin D. Southend is the longest pier. It's a guy. 2 teams put 1896 for the year the inflatable beach ball was put, so you both got points. And my favourite flavour of ice cream, which sadly none of you got, is honey and ginger, but there you are. The ball was carried to the pitch on an electric car. It's England, Sir Geoff Hurst. Wembley, 75%. Denmark, it's B, which is Sri Lanka. You can get 4 chickens from an egg. You can't see water through ice. It's 24 diamonds to make a full set. It's a cat noise. Golems won't attack you if you're holding lava. The crafting recipe is like that, or I accepted in the other inversion as well. Creeper was supposed to be a pig. Minecraft is part of the compulsory education in a certain area of Sweden. That's the recipe for a cake. 20 minutes for a real day. 20 real minutes for a day in Minecraft. And the links, it's a drumstick, eggs Benedict, fowl, Artemis fowl, and gizzard. And the link was chickens. I didn't accept birds if you just put birds. None of you know how many grams are in a Yorkshire tea bag. It's 3.125. Come on, people. PG Tips, Tetley, Thai food, Twinings, and Yorkshire tea are the top 5 brands. Tea leaves have a higher percentage of caffeine, 3.5% compared to 1 to 2%. 4 o'clock is the correct position to have your saucer placed at. And 5,000 litres was the largest cup of tea ever made. All of that means, in 4th place, with 27 points, are Santa's Little Helpers, who I think were mocking me for the warmth of the room I'm in, and the Fizzing Whizbees, who got the bonus point because it just sounds nice being able to say that, the Fizzing Whizbees. So they both got 27. In joint 3rd place was Double Base Church and Freedom Flyers with 28 points. In 2nd place, with 30 points, were the Gardeneers, which means in 1st place with 32 points were the HPC Isolators. So well done to the HPC Isolators, the Headley Park Church Isolators. You won the quiz with 32 points. Thank you very much for joining us. I do hope you had some good discussions, and if you've met up in person, that you've had a nice time. I have no idea what we're doing next. We saw how that went last time, but we'll be in touch via email soon to all of your leaders. For now, thank you very much for joining us, and all that's left to say is good night and God bless.